Get ready, folks, because something major just happened in Canadian politics. Mark Carney, long seen by some as a future Liberal leader, just suffered a serious blow. The Quebec court has officially annulled the federal election result in the Beau riding of Terrebonne, the very one that gave the Liberals a crucial 170th seat, just enough to claim a razor-thin majority. That slim margin is now gone. The reason? A single vote. Yes, really, one single ballot. It was legally cast by a registered voter, but was thrown out due to an error by Elections Canada. They messed up the postal code and sent the ballot back to the voter, invalidating it. That single mistake has now led to the entire vote being tossed and a new election being ordered in that riding. This isn't about political spin or partisanship. It's about an honest voter who did everything right, but was let down by the system. And that mistake may have changed the outcome of the entire election. So what now? A new vote is coming in Terrebonne, and Liberal MP Tashana Wright is out for now. The Bloc Québécois is back in the race, and Carney? He's left scrambling, facing real uncertainty about what this means for his future in politics. Meanwhile, Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives are gaining momentum. This court decision is being seen by many as a turning point, a sign that the Liberal grip on Parliament may be slipping faster than expected. Elections Canada has admitted the error but taken no further action, raising serious questions about how such a critical mistake could happen in a federal election. Bottom line, a single vote mattered, and it wasn't counted. Now the voters of Terrebonne are being asked to decide again, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Let's talk about what just happened. After Elections Canada admitted they printed the wrong postal code on a ballot, they decided to certify the election results anyway. But democracy doesn't work that way. Not if it's meant to be fair. Thankfully, a judge stepped in, saw through the mess, and did what had to be done. It wasn't a proper win, and everyone knew it. It was a mistake, plain and simple. Before we continue, just a quick favor. If you've been enjoying this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. More than 98% of our viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's totally free, and it helps us out a lot. Go ahead. I'll wait. Subscribed? Awesome. Thank you. Now, back to the story. Let's take a moment to recognize someone truly remarkable. Emmanuel Beauséjour, the voter whose lost ballot changed everything. She didn't shout or protest. She didn't post angry rants online. She simply told the truth. Because of her, the courts listened, and now an entire riding will vote again. That's what real democracy looks like, when people speak up and the system responds. As for Mark Carney, reports suggest he's scrambling to make sense of the fallout. He's under pressure, and the numbers aren't working in his favor anymore. His once-celebrated 170-seat majority now looks more like a fragile illusion, built on one vote that was never even counted. It's not just Terrebonne. Several other ridings, like Windsor-Tecumseh, Milton East, and more, are still under review. The cracks are widening, and the system that held together this so-called majority is starting to unravel. Meanwhile, Pierre Poilievre is holding steady. He's been warning since day one. This wasn't a real mandate. It was a temporary illusion held up by mismanagement and avoidable errors. And now that illusion is coming to an end. No tricks, no shortcuts, just facts and the consequences of getting things wrong. Pierre Poilievre has been consistent. He's armed with the facts, the numbers, and now a growing wave of Canadians waking up to what's really going on, especially when it comes to the rising costs and that ever-controversial carbon tax, and credit where it's due, the Bloc Québécois didn't just complain when Terrebonne's results didn't add up. They got serious. They took legal action, challenged the system, and they won. No dramatic speeches, no social media outrage, just solid legal arguments that brought the case back to court and earned them a second chance at the ballot box. Their message was clear. Don't count us out. And certainly don't count votes incorrectly. The ruling was a wake-up call. Now, let's come back to Mark Carney, the man some had pegged as a future liberal leader. These days, he's walking a much tougher path. While he talks about economics and policy, the ground beneath him is shifting fast. That one vote that slipped through the cracks in Terrebonne, it's become a symbol of everything that's gone wrong. Mark didn't win a mandate. He ended up with a paperwork error and called it democracy. And now, every time he speaks, it sounds less like leadership and more like someone hoping nobody notices the floor is giving way. Where is he now? Quiet, behind the scenes, giving interviews to friendly faces while steering clear of tough questions, especially about Terrebonne. And who can blame him? One voter, doing everything right, just exposed a flaw so big it forced an entire riding back to the polls. And here's the scary part. If it happened once, how many other ridings might have similar problems? How many results came down to just, one vote? And if Elections Canada can't guarantee accuracy in those cases, what does that mean for the whole system? Canadians are asking the hard questions, and they're not being distracted anymore. They're seeing how fragile our electoral process can be. When one misprinted envelope can tip the scales of democracy, something's clearly broken. And what's Carney's response? Keep calm, stay the course, talk about resilience, and hope no one looks too closely. But Canadians are already paying the price, literally. And they're not just frustrated, they're paying attention. Enter Pierre Poilievre. He's not dodging questions, he's not spinning stories, he's facing the truth head-on, calling out the flaws and promising to fix them. That's leadership Canadians can recognize. And it's why, more and more, they're turning to him to restore trust in a system that desperately needs it. Pierre Poilievre isn't just talking, he's pushing for real solutions, audits, accountability, and electoral reform. Not the kind where bureaucrats shrug off errors like judges scoring a figure skating competition, but real oversight that puts the integrity of our democracy first. What just happened in Terrebonne isn't a minor glitch. It's a blueprint for change. It shows that close races, those won by just a handful of votes, can no longer be brushed aside. Ridings like Windsor, Milton, and parts of Newfoundland could all be affected. If the margin is within 2%, the pressure is now on because the courts have made it clear. Sloppy election work won't cut it anymore. This is bigger than recounts. It's about trust. Trust in the system itself, and that trust just got a much-needed boost from a court that actually followed the law and stood up for Canadian voters. So what happens next? We look again. We recount. We review every riding where the result was razor thin. This isn't about party loyalty, it's about protecting democracy. If a single envelope can tip the balance of power, then every Canadian deserves better. Not just the right, but the responsibility to ask for a closer look. And for Mark Carney, this could be the legacy. He came in backed by media hype and weak numbers, and now he might exit the stage not as a future leader, but as a cautionary tale, brought down by a system he never truly had control over. His political standing, built on shaky ground, is now collapsing under legal scrutiny. Meanwhile, Pierre Poilievre is gaining momentum. Canadians are frustrated. They're watching closely. And they're connecting with someone who speaks plainly, demands fairness, and isn't afraid to challenge a broken process. The so-called mandate is over. The illusion is gone, and the message is loud and clear. Canadians want their democracy back, so if you're paying attention, and we know you are, hit that subscribe button. Because if you think this court ruling was big, just wait for what's next. The tide is turning.